I'm Hafou Touré-Samb. I'm an Ivorian business development expert. I also have been working with enterprises and SMEs with advising them and financing them. I started my career actually in consulting in New York and then moved into working with DFIs. And with these DFIs, we were mainly investing in private equity and enterprises across the continent. Then I started working with the African Development Bank, where we're also doing similar work and pushing, really investing in different agri-SMEs and agricultural companies across the continent. And then I moved from that to really doing advising through my own firm, HTS Partners, where we focus on women-owned SMEs, but also SMEs across the continent that were looking to fundraise and making them ready for banks or to receive capital, because access to finance was key. And we realized that to build a pipeline, we need to work directly with the entrepreneurs, with the SMEs to really help them be ready to receive that financing.
Yeah, so there's so many things that makes me passionate about what I do. And I think the most important thing is just the immense potential that I see here on the continent, and particularly in Côte d'Ivoire, which is where I'm based. I see that there's so many potential for growth, for great ideas. Everything is left to be done, right? So I think the private sector is the one that has the answer to solve most of our most peculiar problems. So how do we empower this private sector to resolve this issue? We empower them with capacity building, we empower them with financing, we empower them with policies that make sense for them and that help them develop, grow, and then become the champions of tomorrow. So that's really what makes me move, because I see the potential, and I think it just takes each one of us doing our part. I think that's what we must do for this next generation of private sector companies to thrive. Yeah, I mean, there's tremendous opportunity. I think compared to some of the neighboring countries, like I think, for example, Nigeria, that is completely almost a cashless society, there's still a lot that needs to be done. I think logistics is an important, super important aspect of our life, and that is improving with technology. We're ordering more and so on. So how do we change our old supply chain system, our logistics, to really adapt with the time, right? So that our system, like whether it's health, logistics, education, are also moving with the time. So I think those are some of the sector where I think there's a lot to be done. And then finally, agriculture. We are a really big agricultural country, I mean. So how do we make sure that, we're using technology? We're also making agriculture more appealing to the next generation. So the startup ecosystem here is really nascent. We have a lot of people that are always, working on some businesses, but to think of real startups, it's really nascent. In the past 10 years that I would say that we've started to have a real startup ecosystem here. And now we see more and more startup community. We are also seeing different incubators and different accelerators also that are coming up. We're definitely not at the level of the big fours in terms of fundraising, but even Senegal is way ahead of Côte d'Ivoire, is that these startups are staying startup for years, right? You have a few that really are able to grow and do amazing things. You have a lot of them that are still at the nascent stage, are still trying to fundraise years after they're being created. I think that, and figure out how to scale. We need to have a growth, like a scaling plan that makes sense, meaning that if you have 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 users today, you need to have plans for it to double, triple in the next coming years. And a lot of them, it's hard to justify raising, $1 million or even 500,000 or 200,000 euro when a year, 2 years in, your numbers haven't really moved, right? So I think scaling, so figuring out the business model that will allow them to scale quickly, and raising capital will be some of the two bottlenecks that I think are here. So the government is really, really involved in promoting the private sector and promoting businesses. So on the SME end, for example, right now they're in the process of putting in place the guichet unique des entreprises. So it's a single desk for enterprises. And this desk is going to have two things. One part is all of the tout ce qui est accompagnement. So all of the technical support and TA, so pretty much technical assistance that SMEs or enterprises will need. But it will also be the one single desk where when you want to start an enterprise, you don't know where to start, you want to know really everything that you need to do to grow or to start your company, this is where you will go. And the great thing about this guichet unique is that it's linked directly to the financing. So when you get to a stage, and because they're going to walk you through and support you through your business creation and growth process, then they can say, okay, now you're ready for financing. Let's work with our guarantee team to give you a guarantee and put you in touch with some banks so you can get some financing. And then along with that, they're also building a program that is called Pépite that is really focused on growing national champions.